Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome to the first, well, this isn't really the first American Truck Simulator video that I have posted on the channel, but it has been a month of Sundays since I have posted any on the channel. And so I just sort of thought that I would post a video. Now, I talked about this a little bit in episode number 9 of Mountain Valley Farm, which you guys watched on Friday the 30th of May, and I sort of talked about the fact that I had been kicking it around just a little bit. But, you know, as I always tell you guys, that there is no right or wrong way to play these simulation-based games. It's however you want to play things. It's however your imagination will basically allow you to play them and understand them, all within sort of the limitations of the gaming realm, of the limitations of the computer environments and all that kind of stuff. And so part of what I have always said and what I mean when I say it and everything is that, you know, that even works for myself as well. It absolutely does. For me, there is no right or wrong way to do these things. It's all in the way that we enjoy playing the game. And so with that in mind, I'm going to just basically say that I do things a little bit different with American Truck Simulator and with Euro Truck Simulator. I don't play in with a standard transmission, 13 speed or 18 speed or any of that. I have it set up for automatic. It just works for me. When I have spent hours and hours playing ETS2 and ATS, both multiplayer and single player, and basically right now we are on the multiplayer server. Not a lot going on with it, but you know, and I'm the only one. There's no one else that's tagging along with me, although I do hope to maybe join Doughboy and those guys on Sunday afternoon sometime and enjoy some multiplayer action. I think they alternate between ETS2 and ATS, and I think that would be great fun. And I've spent a lot of time on multiplayer, and I guess I've tried to do, and it's not that I can drive an automatic, or I can drive a standard transmission without any problems. I've personally held a Class A CDL from the state of Texas for many years. I worked for the Dr. Pepper Bottling Company for many years, driving tractor trailers, and I can do it. I can drive a standard transmission in a truck or a car or anything like that. I don't prefer it. I prefer my automatic because it's just easier to do that. Well, and it's just easier for me to do it in the game. And if you've got an issue with that, if you're watching this and you think that, you know, this is just such a major issue because I'm not driving with an 18-speed transmission, then I'm sorry, and I invite you. I hope that you will stick around, and I hope that you will watch my other content, either my farm sim stuff or my flight sim stuff or whatever may come down the pipe at some other point in time. And trust me, truck sim's not going to dominate my channel in any way. I don't even think I will have time to do it on a regular basis, let alone it will probably be just an occasional video that you will see here and there whenever I sort of get the hankering to do a little driving. And it will alternate probably between American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2. So 97,000 pounds there. This is part of the heavy haul pack, and I will give you all a view here outside of the truck here. This is my multiplayer truck that I'm using at the moment, and it looks like we're pulling what should be, I guess for us farm sim folks, the case that big case tractor that we have. Obviously, they've changed the name to obviously protect the innocent, but I think that's more or less the same case tractor that we used on Lone Star. So cool stuff there, and it's obviously quite heavy. The other thing is that I do often, and I do this in the real world as well, I do drive about 5 miles or so over the speed limit. It's just kind of the way that I am. It's the way that I've always been, and it's most likely the way that I will always be. And it's sort of, my wife is constantly, looking over at the speedometer on our SUV, and often, sort of telling me to slow things down. But that's just the way things are. So yeah, just I guess just kind of have to go with it. But in any event, what I can guarantee you is, with all of my other videos that I have been doing on this channel, is everything will always be rated a G. Everything will be very family friendly, very family friendly, and very young person friendly. So, while I'm not grinding gears and shifting gears and all that kind of stuff, I will try to provide good, wholesome entertainment from the various simulation-based games that I enjoy playing, and I hope that you enjoy watching them. And again, if for whatever reason, if you can't get beyond the fact that I'm driving an automatic transmission, then I'm sorry. And again, this isn't going to dominate the channel in any way whatsoever. But in any event, I kind of wanted to maybe bring some variety to the channel. I am creating some content that obviously will air on the channel while I'm on vacation. This is, I've yet to go on vacation yet, but a week from tomorrow, I'm actually recording this episode on the 22nd of June, and I don't know when you guys will watch this, but I'm pretty sure it will be after the 30th of June. But in any event, I am planning to keep you guys in at least 3 videos the week that I am on vacation. So I'm just trying to get some material in the pipeline, if you will, and I hope that you will enjoy it. Again, if you don't, then please come back for one of my other farm sim or my flight sim videos. So anyway, this obviously is the heavy haul pack DLC. I did purchase that when it came out. I was actually looking quite forward to it. I've got on the single player side of things, which is my career profile, and I'm not sure how much money I've accrued in the game on my single player, on my career profile. This is my multiplayer profile, because obviously we're in multiplayer. There is sort of a bug with multiplayer that has somewhat existed since the beginning of time, I suppose, that when you bring a profile, if you bring your single player profile into multiplayer, all of a sudden it will, your money will just explode. You'll have more money than you know what to do with, especially if you've got hired workers, because the fact that the multiplayer environment runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unlike your single player, time only moves when you're actually playing the game. So this was a modded profile that I applied to American Truck Simulator. I've got a modded profile that I have for ETS2, and again, it's sort of the same principle that it is not my career profile. It's not what I've been obviously playing for such a long time. So I've got an abundance of cash, but I've also accrued a lot of cash in my single player as well. I do tend to play more multiplayer than I do single player. I think possibly the reason for that has to do with the AI traffic. I've tried all sorts of different things to try to better control the AI traffic situation, and they're crazy drivers, and I know that there are obviously crazy drivers in real life, and we just, we deal with it, whether we're driving a semi-truck or even just a four-wheeler. We deal with these things, but I do tend to like multiplayer just because I also enjoy you know, the other trucks and doing convoys and stuff like that. So that's just kind of the deal. Although in real life, not every truck that you pass will honk at you, which is, I don't know if that's just an immaturity thing or whatnot, but in any event, you know, we've seen the best and we've seen the worst with multiplayer. I do tend to maybe stay away from multiplayer on the weekend evenings, maybe when more of the younger people are out driving the safety cars or whatever, causing problems and such. But I guess technically I should be over here in the far right-hand lane would be the correct thing to do, especially pulling such a heavy load. And of course, in the real life, pulling a load like this, we would certainly expect to have a safety car or something in front of us, maybe behind us as well. Of course, that kind of stuff isn't simulated in the game unless we've got someone that's willing to, oh, there you go, genuine Dr. Pepper. So he's a man after my own heart. I do still enjoy Dr. Pepper, even though I worked for them for about 5 years, I guess. I delivered Dr. Pepper, as I already had mentioned once or twice, or maybe 100 times by now on my channel. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. Now, this tractor, this case tractor, is going to a winery. I kind of forget where we're actually going. I probably need to do a little bit better job of remembering that kind of stuff, so I can maybe set the stage at the beginning of the video and say, you know, we're going to do this or we're going to do that or whatever. But we are hauling it to one of the vineyards here in California. We are in California. This is pretty much obviously being multiplayer, this is the default SCS maps and everything. I have experimented and played around with some of the modded maps for ATS. I will tell you that I've done the coast-to-coast map a couple of times. I haven't followed the progress that they've made on that map in, say, the last couple of months, just simply because I have been quite busy with Farm Sim and now bringing Flight Sim into the channel and stuff like that. But I've done several coast-to-coast runs many months ago. Quite fun, but again, the map's kind of plain, or at least that's the way it was the last time that I've spent any time with the coast-to-coast map. That's no fault of the developer of the coast-to-coast map, because if you know anything about the history of that particular map, it really was not designed and it was not intended to be released to the public. It was sort of the gentleman who created it, I can't think of his name right now, but the gentleman that created it more or less created it for himself because he wanted to be able to drive coast to coast in an 18-wheeler. That's sort of the American thing, right? That's what you see running up and down the interstate highway system. And so in any event, he created it, but he also shared it with people. And then he got ideas. People submitted and said, you know, will you add this state? Will you add this city? You know, don't forget this highway, whatever. And really, it was just a cut and paste of all the various default sceneries that we've got part of the game. So in other words, you kind of see palm trees in places that palm trees don't necessarily grow, because he just sort of cut and paste stuff out of the default California and Nevada areas, because that's when he created the coast-to-coast map. That was all that was available. And of course, now we've got Arizona, and New Mexico is very soon to be released. Who knows, you might even New Mexico, well, I don't know when New Mexico is going to be released, but I do know that SCS has been talking about it. So hopefully we're not too far away from the release of New Mexico. That would be cool. Now on the ETS2 side of things, I do multiplayer with that, but I also quite enjoy the Pro Mods map mods that they have. Now that is a top-notch setup. If you Google Pro Mods, or if you maybe Google Pro Mods ETS2, and I think I have them linked on my mod spreadsheet. So if you go to grizzlybearsims.com, and if you click on my add-ons and mod directory, and then down at the bottom you'll see tabs for the various games that I play, and I have mods listed. and you can see the mods that I have for ATS and ETS2, and I'm pretty sure that I have the link to Pro Mods there. Well, anyway, Pro Mods is what I wish, the coast to coast mod map could be. It could be that detailed, because they have been, they do painstakingly excellent work in creating the different things. For example, not only do they add new areas that SCS has not covered, but they also enhance areas that SCS has covered within the default map of Europe. So for example, Antwerp, which is where my mother and father-in-law live, and I go and visit every other year, is not depicted in the default ETS2 map. Yet, ProMods added it, and they've added some of the landmarks, or some of the like the buildings and stuff. The cathedral in Antwerp, which is a very famous, very old building, is depicted in the ProMods ETS2 map, and it's very cool. When you drive through Antwerp, you can see it. There it is. And so that's very cool. So I do tend, even though I do some, sorry about that, was the CB, and I will have to be careful because I've got it turned on. Usually I turn it off, so if I will edit out any bad language that may come across it, so don't worry about that. But I do multiplayer on ETS2, but I think I almost prefer to play single player on ETS2 because of the Pro Mods stuff, because obviously the Pro Mods stuff is not part of the Truckers MP multiplayer environment. So anyway, we are about 30 miles away from our destination, and again, I'm not really sure where that is. I do love the that deep bass rumble of the Jake brake on this this truck. Quite impressive. Sounds really good when I've got my subwoofer cranked up and I've got my speakers on my computer cranked up. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I do like these new heavy haul DLC, the trailers and everything. The way that they turn, that is quite nice. Quite impressed with that. Because some of these turns, even with like just a regular standard 53-foot container trailer, they can be quite tight turns, and of course that's somewhat realistic, obviously. But this, I like the turning characteristics of this is quite cool. Now the other thing that I might have alluded to, and I could have said it 5 minutes ago, but I don't recall. That would be cool if we could get that horse animation in Farm Sim. Is that I don't always pick the most difficult parking spot. I sort of look at how I think things would be in real life. So an example of that is if I'm hauling a 53-foot container van or trailer to one of the little convenience store looking drop-off points, I almost always choose the easy parking, because I don't really feel like, in realistic terms, that they would back that truck around, or it wouldn't have all the fences and everything around it. And again, I understand why SCS does this. It is to provide a challenge, and I can do it if I wanted to. If you held a gun to my head, I could actually do it. It would take me forever, because you guys know how I back. Okay, you know how I back. If I am quiet and if I concentrate, I can do a fairly decent job of doing it. It's painful, but it's decent. If I'm talking at the same time, then you know how that goes. But in any event, yeah, I somewhat pick easier parking spots just because that's kind of what I enjoy. And I enjoy having fun. I don't, just like Flight Sim as an example, I don't turn on the mechanical, what's the word I'm looking for? like mechanical breakdowns and stuff like that, simply because I don't want to deal with a mechanical breakdown at 36,000 feet. It's not something, and plus also I spend a lot of time on VATSIM on the multiplayer network, and you don't want to really do that because that causes problems with other pilots and it ruins their entertainment and all that kind of stuff. Plus the simple fact is, well, you know, you just don't have that many mechanical problems from time to time in flying some of this equipment, and it's just not something that I'm really that interested in. So let's see what our parking options are here. Looks like this one is out of the question because it's grayed out, which is probably a good thing because I don't even know if I would try it. This one is going to be the one that we're going to attempt to try, and I'm hoping that I can just kind of drive around the backside of this building here and just make this thing work out for us. Ultimate concentration. If I hadn't already bit my fingernails because of the stressful day that I had at work today with some problems, some equipment problems, some server problems, I would probably be biting my nails right about now. And I don't have Track IR working. I need to get my issues sorted out with Track IR because I basically want to be able to use Track IR with all of the games that I play. Track IR works actually quite well with Track IR actually works quite well, and that's not going to work, is it? Track IR actually works quite well with Flight Sim, and of course we already know it works well with ATS and ETS2, and of course it works fairly well with Farm Sim. But it is just it's so fidgety, and I know that, you know, a lot of these guys like Reefy1952, Mike, some of these guys use something called Track Hat, which is a less expensive version of Track IR, and I know that they have their struggles as well. It's not. I think with all of these things, it's part of it is the profile, and part of it is just, you know, maybe conflicts with other things that are going on. And I'm going to be quiet because okay, just like that. By golly, we figured it out. And we'll see if we scratch the paint too bad on that trailer. Hopefully we didn't. Excellent. All right, that's the way I like it done, folks. All right, folks, well, thank you so much for, let me end that because I don't want to get a copyright deal for this music. So thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning into the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel and watching my crazy driving, my crazy American truck simulator driving. And I just really appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully you've enjoyed this, even though I do play things a little bit different. And I'm just basically going to park my truck over here and leave it here for the night. I hear that there's a pretty good wine tasting here at this vineyard, and I'm going to go in and partake in some of that. Maybe they have some cheese as well, and I can sort of calm down just a little bit from that somewhat hectic parking job there. So thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and take care now, and we'll see you on down the road. Bye-bye.